Hey all, happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I want to invite our first guest, Angela Sun, Head of Business Development and Partnership at NEXPACE. Angela started her journey in the gaming industry, BD, in 2015. NEXPACE is probably mostly known for MapleStory Universe, one of the biggest gaming communities with over 120 million global users, which also now building on Avalanche now. And Justin Kim. Justin is a former banker that nowadays is spearheading Avalabs and Avalanche in Korea. Justin is responsible for NEXPACE decision to migrate to Avalanche, working close with the massive conglomerate SK, and probably a lot of other ventures that we will hear now and probably in the near future. So thank you for coming.
They're good to be here.
Thanks for having us.
So let's start with the first question. So one study uncovered that Asia is home for approximately 55% of basically all GameFi revenue in the space. So basically Asia is half of GameFi revenue is coming from Asia. In your opinion, what factors make the Asian market perfect for Metaverse growth in the future? By the way, it's for both of you.
Yeah. So if I can start on that, actually, the thought of like the Asian market, especially in gaming, it's really exciting because we're talking about always online games. We're talking about MMORPGs. And it's actually really fascinating because if you think about it, Asian countries, like they are so used to MMORPGs and playing online that it is the standard norm for them. But then like in Western countries, they're a little bit more prone to start with console or, play a little bit more with console, just single player games. But then, culturally having that affinity to being online and also working not with the community only, but then also with a live economy within the game. I think that just really sets the foundation and understanding for Web3 games, which is essentially built on that. So I feel that, culturally, the Asian regions just really have a head start maybe in getting used to what we're building here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for providing all the numbers. That's really impressive coming from MarketAcross. And so I think I can probably start with Korea because, I'm head of Korea for Avalabs. Maybe then we can equate that to like larger part of Asia. I mean, like, for example, Korea has multinational conglomerates. So we have SK, the second largest conglomerate, already using Avalanche. And it has a lot of larger impact on what the firms are doing in other parts of Asia and also in the States and some part of Europe too. So that's one of the things that Asia is good at. We have firms, companies that are building all over the world. And then moreover, like more relevant to our topic today, we have like companies like Nexon, who is leading the gaming industry alone out of Korea. It's just not for Asia, right? So we have gaming studios that are actually launching IPs all over the place, like in Korea, in Asia, in the US. And then speaking of like crypto capital market volume, I just checked the numbers before I got on stage. So there's a centralized exchange in Korea called Upbit. Their 24-hour trading volume was actually the second largest right this moment. So there's a lot of capital locked in the crypto capital market. Maybe with the right timing, we'll have that liquidity coming into the gaming space and some other Web3 projects. So I think that's like the potential that Asia has for Web3 and Web3 gaming.
Okay, so we're saying we're going to see even bigger growth ahead.
Of course.
Thank you. So player engagement and building a community of loyal gamers is key to making Web3 games sustainable. Could you shed light on the innovation or in-game experience that could help improve engagement?
Yeah, I guess I'll start on that one too. But I think a really core part of what we realized during our 21-year service of MapleStory was the importance of community, basically. Playing a game is not just being like not just about being inside the client and playing on your own. It's really about engaging with the community and engaging with content that the community has created. So for instance, you take forums or walkthroughs that someone has created of like a quest, or you can even talk about like creating fan art or fan apps of the game. And you think of all of that, and all of that experience essentially is your experience in playing MapleStory, right? And so we wanted to go into the roots of that and say that what we're building is for the community and with the community. And so we're devising a system where we can measure the contributions of these individual community members, like whether they be small individuals like you or me just being on social media, to, you know, bigger groups or teams maybe trying to build with the MapleStory IP with us. So we're trying to find a way to, you know, be able to reward all of them and make sure that they're included in the universe, not as just like, you know, community creators, but then as part of our community.
Yeah, so I think coming from me, I work at Alpha Labs, which is the team behind Avalanche blockchain. And I think it'd be more beneficial for the audience and everybody here if we provide our thoughts as an operator of a blockchain network. So I think cross-collaboration between games and beyond games is something that will, you know, definitely boost engagement among players. And coming from like a company like us, we make sure that the cross-collaboration works smoothly between games. So MapleStory Universe will have its own blockchain built on top of Avalanche. We call it Subnet. It's an independent custom blockchain built on top of Avalanche. And then we have, I think at the conference, we have teams like Shrapnel and Off the Grid, which are like the most anticipated AAA games here in the space. So let's say you have a certain item or you have a special status at one of these games, and you'll be rewarded, I don't know, special skins. This is very easy topic, and we've been talking about this for more than a decade. But to make this actually work, it's a different story. So let's say you have MapleStory Subnet, you have Shrapnel Subnet, but for these two different blockchains to talk to each other, you'll think of bridges, like, because that's the topic, right? You'll think about bridges, rollups, but at Avalanche, you don't need bridges or rollups. We already have infrastructure that lets all these different blockchains talk to each other and bridge assets without having to rely on third-party bridges or rollups. So that's some of the efforts that we are, making as an operator of the blockchain infrastructure for games like MapleStory Universe, Shrapnel, and Off the Grid.
So if I understand, basically you're saying that you try to provide the best tech, basically for the games to actually move to Web3, but also to run smoothly, right? So that's correct. That's your goal, is basically as Ava Labs.
Yeah.
And you're saying that we need to incentivize basically the good players and reduce the ones that are not contributing, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, I think the two need definitely to go end to end. So there is also another topic that's probably very close to gaming, which is also AI. And according to CoinGecko, the market cap of AI tokens rose from 2.7 billion to 27 billion, which is a 10x growth. And over the past 30 days, tokens related to AI have seen average gains between 2 and 3x. I do see the Metaverse and Web3 gaming industry riding the AI wave. What specific AI application could enhance user demand and scale within the Metaverse?
Maybe I'll start with the
sure.
This one. So I think AI will eventually solve difficulties with coding, making products on chain. Because if you look at like numbers, I'm not sure like the recent numbers, but there are only like 200,000 Solidity developers, which is like way less. It's not even comparable to like developers who are working on Apple Store, on applications for like Apple Store, Google Play Store. So that means we have a lot of challenges, or like there are obstacles for easy access to like get creative on Web3. But I think we already have tools like GPT that are like practical enough, that are large enough, that are good enough. So I'm pretty sure like they will, like, to equate this in gaming, let's say you can be an investor, like everyone can be an investor on Web3, on blockchain, right? So like, let's say you want to invest in a guild, like $5,000. If it is successful with raising $10 million, that can be a smart contract coded, but I'm not a developer, right? But tools like GPT can actually solve that, and it'll actually boost a lot of adoption and, you know, creative solutions, creative products coming to blockchain.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, Angela?
No, I love this subject about AI, and also I love Justin's, answer about AI helping builders build, because I can see two different, types of AI, or different types of like AI working in our MapleStory universe. Number one is definitely what Justin said. If you're a builder and if you wanted to build an app or an experience that enhances, what MapleStory could be, I think players and builders would just really appreciate that help from AI and making their jobs a lot easier. So what they really need to do is be creative and think about contributing instead of spending a lot of time coding or doing the heavy lifting, right? But another topic in which we can think about AI is actual live operations. And, like you just kind of summarized my previous answer, I think this industry in itself, we're really looking towards to creating a real fundamental essence here. Like, we're not talking about bots anymore or feigning numbers. Like, we want real players to be there, and we want to create value for those real players. And what we need to do is ultimately make this an environment that does not have bots or abusing users who can actually, hurt the experiences of innocent users who want to come into the space, and how we're actually using AI in our existing games and how we plan to use AI in MapleStory and in the MapleStory universe is we will use this tech to monitor, the logs and action logs of everything basically that goes on in the game, the moves that you make or how many attacks did before you kill that snail, right? And with that, we're able to determine if this user is a bot or a legitimate user. And so a lot of techniques go hand in hand to create that, but then just made it simple. I think, AI, one of the really good use cases would be to ensure a good environment for players who really just want to enjoy the game.
Love the answer. And also, I remember as a player that, if someone is entering with hacks or whatever, it's ruin the game. So it's
definitely.
Yeah. Thank you for the answers. How do you foresee the VC analytics and decision-making getting influenced by AI and machine learning, especially in the Web3 gaming and Metaverse sectors, which are often guided by extensive user behavioral data and usage metrics?
Yeah. So, kind of continuing from my previous answer, I think once we're able to tell the real users from the not so real users, the data should really just tell us, where we need to be. What do the users really want, or what do they need to kind of move forward in this community? what do we need to do to expand the environment? And I think this is a really good tech that can be used to deliver real value. It's just thinking about ways in which you can actually implement it. So.
Justin?
Yeah, I think when we think of big data, it sounds like an old word already, right? Big data sounds like a thing of the past, but I think big data is what actually builds good AI and machine learning, right? But if you zoom out a little bit and if you go to a website these days, would you provide your personal data?
I prefer not
to use a site. But yeah, so in the US or some other countries, they already changed the privacy laws that you can choose not to provide your information and still can use the website. Going forward with that legal trend, the only way to get real data from users will be actually, rewarding people with tokens, rewarding airdrops. That will be the trend and actually be the only way to get data from users. So I think that's where Web3 and the big data will actually come work together to get the data and provide better solution for users.
Yeah, so like for Web2, you're basically saying they will have a hard time getting the data, and basically Web3 is solving the like how to get it data in the first place.
Yeah, like might sound harsh, but now we have to pay for data. And Web3 just works with that idea and like the trend. Yeah.
I mean, you always have to pay data. Is the question if like you have to pay to the users or to some company who, I don't know, illegally got the data. So yeah. The global gaming industry is projected to grow from just $242 billion like today to $583 billion by 2030. What lessons could we learn from the growth curve of the traditional gaming industry to develop sustainable economics models for stable and long-term Web3 user retention?
Yeah, no, I'm loving these stats that you have. And, we thought a lot about like what it means to be servicing a game for such a long time and what it means to grow these. And so with our new game, with our new MapleStory, we thought of ways in which we can ensure sustainability, basically. And some solutions that we thought about were to implement some different tweaks within the game. So before, basically like all the items, they were of an unlimited supply. Like if you had enough luck and if you grind in the game enough, like you could basically get the item and everyone could do so. So you had an unlimited supply of items, which led to economy imbalance. But then here, we knew that that was going to happen. So what we did was we implemented a limited supply system so that items would be in the fields or in bosses like in a periodic manner and in a limited access manner. So what that really ensures for us is that you're able to play the game more strategically, but also in the long term, the game is balanced and a lot more sustainable economy-wise. So we're implementing systems like those and also a dynamic way to determine prices for enhancements. And what that would mean is that users would now work with other users or work against other users to determine what action is in their best interest. And that's something that we did not find in the traditional MapleStory or in traditional gaming for that matter. But then I think, the lessons that we learned from our live operations have been implemented here. So we're talking more about like an economy update. When you think about a sequel for a game, usually you only think about engine updates or graphic updates, but then what we're doing here is basically an economy update. And so I think that's what we learned from, our years and also from the industry trends of what gaming has been. And we hope, that this could be the start of something new.
Justin?
Yeah, I think for a gaming economy to grow, there are two ways. You can have the current gamers spend more, or you can bring in more people. Making the current gamers pay more, I think she explained already very well. But then having new people that are not gamers, I think that's the big advantage that we have in Web3 gaming, because now you have like digital artists that are coming in to get paid for like their artwork, like skins. They're not gamers, but they're new people, meaning that they will bring in new revenue for the game economy. So I think those two will be the core of creating a bigger economy.
We have like 1 minute and a half, so I will try and ask one question for each. Hopefully we'll manage to do it. So for Angela, you have been an avid gamer yourself. What do you think are some of the unique challenges that Web3 gaming communities face compared to more traditional gaming guilds? And what is NEXPACE approach to navigate around it?
Yeah, I mean, not only with communities, but then also as servicers of a game. Before, this all used to be regional. So we would have to just think about the different regions and just about different languages and how we could deliver the best experience to these different cultures. But then with Web3, we're looking at a very global market and a global service. So we're talking about a communication that could reach everyone, regardless of what culture they're from or regardless of what experiences they've had before. And so this is like the ultimate challenge that we're facing. But then I think what's really exciting for us is that MapleStory is a very global experience. Like if you played the game or if you will play the game now, like basically it's going to be a very similar experience for people of all cultures. So we have that going, and we hope to build from that and to create an experience in which everyone could, just keep on sharing what they're feeling.
I still want to ask one question if possible.
Sure.
So what are the most attractive features basically that Avalanche has that is attracting games like Sharpnel and MapleStory Universe and others, of course?
I think every game will eventually need their own blockchain, because these gaming studios, gaming IPs face questions like, oh man, I want to customize my guest token. It's not possible on any public blockchain. I only want validators that are like really, that have really high hardware requirements. These are questions that every game company is asking. These are legit questions. And like the subnet on Avalanche, which is custom blockchain, actually, answers all of those features. That's why we're working with the best teams in the space, like MapleStory Universe. And we're very happy to be working with them, and we will, provide better infrastructures for these gaming companies.
Thank you both, Justin Kim and Angela Sun, for this interesting fireside chat.
Yeah, no, thank you, Kim.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
all of the questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you.